Another year, another F1 game to create a whole new range of setups for. Now you might think that every track requires a radically different setup, but actually if you look hard enough you'll notice a pattern with every setup, a meta if you will. For those looking to get the perfect setup, first time every time, I'm Mark from RacingGames, and here's how to master every setup in F1 23. Now before we get into it, both our setups and this meta have been created for the average player, who may still be using assists like traction control or ABS. For the more seasoned F1 players, you may need to fiddle with the setup just a little bit more to get the result you want, but we'll have some tips for that as we go through this video. For now though, let's start with the aerodynamics. This is all about generating that vital downforce from the front and rear wings. The higher the number, the more downforce generated, but at the cost of top speed. From the centre, if you need to increase the top speed of the car, decrease the wing levels by between 1 and 3 clicks. This will compromise the car when turning into corners, and also risks destabilising the car during high speed switchbacks, but it's worth it to get that crucial overtake on the long straights if you can control the car elsewhere. Of course, if you want to increase the stability, just go the other way. Yes, you'll lose top speed, but that could be gained back in the slow speed corners. Adjusting the front wing up by a click or two will increase responsiveness in corner entries. This can be complemented by moving the off-throttle differential up by a few clicks to increase stability further. Ultimately, the aero is the clincher when it comes to speed versus stability, but don't be caught napping when it comes to the suspension and brake setup. Suspension stiffness dictates how responsive the car is when changing direction. Stiffening the front suspension in relation to the rear, along with the anti-roll bar, makes the car pointier, getting a better result at corner entry with the cost of traction on corner exit. So you can enter a corner at a slightly higher speed and try to send it, but just bear in mind that you may still lose the place you just gained when it's time to get the power down again. A stiffer front also risks destabilising the car on the worst invention in F1 history, sausage curbs. The last thing you want is to blow it all on the final corner because you clipped the edge of a sausage curb and sent it into the barriers, so just keep that in mind when creating your suspension setup. Softening the front suspension will lose the pointy characteristics, but in return you can ride the curbs more and keep your foot down across the apex. Combined with the suspension, you can enter corners with a lot more confidence with a good brake pressure setup, but just be careful as lockups are easier than ever in F1 23. 100% brake pressure is only really for those with ABS this year, or good braking discipline, so if you do find yourself locking up a lot, it's worth turning down the brake pressure a few clicks. If you are willing to risk locking up, it's better to aim for a front lockup than a rear. Locking the fronts will cause you to miss the apex, but locking the rears can lead to a full spin out in heavy braking zones like Austria's Turn 3, so move the brake bias frontwards for those corners for the best result. It's worth adjusting the brake bias during a lap too, depending on the type of corner coming up. Just don't miss your braking point because you were distracted and end up in a gravel trap. Now of course, there are exceptions to this meta. You'll need every inch of wing at Monaco, so whack those up to the max, whereas at Monza you pretty much only need the wings to keep the car on the tarmac, so feel free to turn them right down as low as they'll go. Suspension at Monaco is a whole other issue, but we'll cover that more in our Monaco setup guide, so be sure to subscribe now if you haven't already to be the first to see that. It's also worth noting that F1 23 favours an unlocked differential. In layman's terms, this means allowing the wheels to spin at different speeds, as opposed to a locked differential where both rear wheels will spin at the same speed. Again, this is good for cornering, avoiding the dreaded oversteer that could send you off track. Another good tip to use is during a short multiplayer race, it's worth boosting your tyre pressure by a click to get heat into the rubber a lot faster, perfect for those quick online sprints. Oh, and finally, the golden suspension geometry meta still works this year. For those unaware, that's full right, full left, and full left for the best result. These setups won't guarantee success for everyone right away. You may need to adjust to the car's new behaviour, so make use of every practice session available in order to get to grips with the balance. Feel free to also play around with the assists in game too. I personally drive with no assist this year, and have found the car a lot easier to save when things get hairy, so don't be afraid to really push the setups to get the best from them. Have we missed anything out? What tips and tricks have you learned from your setups? Let us know down below, and again be sure to subscribe to the channel to be the first to see our full track setup guides when they drop. For now though, thanks for watching. I've been Mark from RacingGames, and we'll catch you here on the channel for another video soon.